All right, please respond to me directly. So Chairman Price here?
Yes, can you hear me? Yes.
Yeah, I can, all right, thank you. For me?
Yes, sir.
All right, Weiji?
Yes, sir.
Jiawin?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, wait up there, right? Let me present first of you, so you guys can see the screen there. Jiawin is here, right? Okay, Yi Chin?
Yes, sir.
All right, Yongke?
Yes, sir.
Darren?
Yes, sir.
All right. Wenku?
Yes, sir.
Taiwan?
Yes, sir.
Yituen?
Yes, sir.
Polly? Polly is here,
Yes,
Polly?
sir. Yes, sir.
All right, Shibao? Shibao is here? Wait up, guys, huh? All right. Shibao is here, Shibao. Shibao is not here. Joshua is here, Joshua?
Yes. Yes, teacher.
All right, Kayan?
Yes, teacher.
Hung Cheong? Xiao Ting?
Yes, sir.
Tai Zi?
Yes, sir.
Lim Wei?
Yes, sir.
Wei Shen?
Yes, sir.
Xuan Yu?
Yes, sir.
Yao Sheng? Su Jing?
Yes, sir.
Jeffrey is here, Jeffrey? Erdina?
Yes, sir.
All right, Sophia?
Yes, sir.
Tai Liang?
Yes, sir.
All right, Tai Yan?
Yes, sir.
All right, Yong Kwan? Yui?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Alvin?
Yes, sir.
Jin Chen?
Yes, sir.
Yu Chen?
Yes, sir.
Yong
Yes,
Kam?
sir.
All right, Yong Han?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Jin
sir.
Hao? And
Yes, sir.
Julia. All right. Anyone from your groups which has been withdrawn or did not attend any class? Any from your groups? Remembers? No? Okay, for group 4, okay, of course, okay, there is no attendance, but thank you very much for joining us there, okay? Because of, yeah, we actually doesn't have to do some replacement class because they're not actually going to be applied to your attendance there. But for the sake of the efforts that you guys have, right, the learning kind of experience that you want there, okay, is quite respectful, right, okay, when you join the class, right, okay. So, have you watched the video just now, right, okay? How was it? Did I actually send a quite clear message for you guys to develop your thumbnails after this? Have you watched the videos there? Okay, come on guys, okay? Switch on your webcam directly. Switch on your webcam directly so I can see your face there. Right. So, how is it, Derek? Tempo, have you watched the video just now? Wei Sin, okay, here, right? How is it, the videos? All right, okay. Today, this morning, basically, I have recorded also one of the sessions of the videos that which actually I've discussed and also focusing on the on more developments there, okay? More developments, okay, on the assignment 2 there. Assignment 2, and also I go back into assignment 1, basically just to have a more relations kind of understanding from there. And of course, I did also some visual idea development from here, okay, because I always want to remind the students there, okay, what are the things that they might going to be have to look into when it comes to develop their ideas from there, okay. So that's why if you take a look at the videos itself, I'm basically like to focus a bit more on your how actually develop basically your skill from here, not just only to develop okay and assignments, okay, just to submit the works there, but at the same time I want you guys to gain some of the right, a very good kind of understanding there, okay, when it comes to develop your design sense, okay. So I'm going to outlook them, right, okay. Maybe later you can go through back again from there. Any kind of inquiries there, any kind of inquiries there when you watch the videos there. Okay, this is one of the samples from one of your friends, I think from group, I don't know which group is this, right? Make sure you guys add the group names, okay, in every of your files there, okay. So this is one of the good thumbnails that I find from your friends, right? That can be add a little bit more uh, kind of detail there, okay? That he actually have discussed with me in the personal WhatsApp there, okay, about his kind of ideas there. So if you take a look at how actually people approach their own ideas, okay, this is one of the first earlier kind of stage there that you guys can actually develop your kind of idea according to your project assignments, okay, in the futures, okay. So the right kind of way to sketch, even though we can actually redevelop and improvise, right, the details later on. This is maybe some of his rough kind of ideas there based on the elements and roughs, okay. But of course, when it comes to develop this kind of research, make sure you get enough kind of reference, right? For me, right, okay, this one reference is not good enough, right? It doesn't actually show a lot of the right kind of understanding there, right? Okay, see, even though you want to design a mountain there, right, we need a lot of reference, okay? A lot of reference there. It is one of the rough sketches maybe there, right? Okay? Maybe he redraw back again the characters from the first assignments there, right? Okay, I think he has to, okay, improvise, right, and redevelop, right, the details for your rough idea development there. Okay. if I want to go through with his ideas here, okay, his ideas there, right? So this is what I can do. 6. Okay, let's just say I taking from his ideas. I want you guys to judge the right thing. How actually I can redevelop from your friend's ideas. First of all, to draw this, what is it? What is this there, Sharon Cry? You guys were here, right? You can see my screen?
Yes,
Can you
sir.
guys see my screen there? Yeah, all right, okay, respond to me there. Huh? Huelin there, okay, not Huawei there, okay, Huelin there, right? Respond there, right? Don't be shy there, okay? If I do a bit kind of things that is not actually quite understandable, raise your voice there. All right, okay, raise your voice, right? So I can actually improve from there, right, Celia? Huh? Focusing, yeah, right? Listen, all right? Patricia, okay, show your face there, okay, or you're not wearing tudung, right? Prepare yourself all the time there, okay? Jeffrey is here, Jeffrey, no. The group is group 4, right? Only group 4, group 4, group 3, no. All right, so now, so from these characteristics, how actually we develop them? One of the biggest mistake that this guy was doing there, you know what? What is it? He's not actually developed the basic structures there. Okay? Basic structures there. Why we have to do these basic structures there? Even though it's a very simple kind of characters, right? I'm not actually doing anime manga style there right now. Okay? But what I actually did right now is what? I'm drawing a very simple kind of shapes. Characters based on the very simple shapes there. Can you see that? The feeling of this design of these characters there based on this. From here to here, okay, this one look more like a childish drawing there, right? I believe that he is not actually purposely want to design a child drawing there, but this is the way that he draw. But this is the way that I actually suggested, right? Suggested there, okay? Why? Because these drawings, there is no basic structures there. There's no foundations there, okay? From here, if you take a look at how actually I designed back again. Same characters. Right now, they become a 3/4 view there, right? See how actually I developed different kind of pose and different kind of positions that based on the same characters. See? Right? Okay. This is my rough sketch. Okay, this is my rough sketch there. Okay. Can you see the difference there, guys? Even though I didn't actually draw a lining there, okay, the alignment line there, okay, that approach those characters there. But it will show also my understanding how to develop my own characters there. But this is not my characters, this is his characters, but I'm using basically his ideas to work on that. So from here, I can do a lot of things there, right? That's why the way that you want to the starting point to develop your ideas there, when you start to sketch, it will show whether you know and understand how it works or not. All right, to draw the, what do you call that? Houses there, based on what? Based from the mushroom there, right? Can you see right now how I actually sketch the mushrooms? Different mushroom there. It's also mushroom, right? You don't think dirty there. This is just a mushroom there. Right? Is it right? Okay. So mushroom there, right? Okay. Careful with it when you draw. So what else mushroom can do there? Okay, this is also part of mushroom there. There's a lot of type of mushroom that you can actually develop there, right? So for all these kind of drawings, all these kind of idea developments, it came from right from the experience that I have. Okay, experience that I have when I was actually become a Smurf. Okay, when I have become a Smurf there, right? See the way that I sketch the mushroom itself here, and see how actually he actually approached that. Which one basically look more appealing there? Right, you know the answers there, right? You know basically the answers there. Okay? Okay, wait up guys, huh? All right. So even though we want to approach students, right? Okay, if you have to draw like a kids, for example, right? This is what I can do. But the point is right now, are you actually purposely want to design like this? Or basically you don't know how to draw them? So those are the things that you have to answer back again, the questions there. All right? You have to answer those questions there. This one I'm using a doodle kind of line there. Doodle style to approach on my design. Okay, based on this one, but I make it more appealing there to watch, there to see there. Okay, even to draw the stars there. See how I draw the stars? All right. The moon itself there. You can actually redesign them if I want to. See? It's all about designing the guys. All right. So from here, let me approach the compositions. So sketch line that first. Even though a very simple characters like this, I will basically going to design. I'm going to add a bit kind of a thick kind of eyebrows here. Okay. This is first compositions there. Okay. When I sketch the characters there, right, I can actually place anywhere that I want. Can you see that? Okay, when I actually design a very simple characters like the strawberry there, right, okay, I can do the various type of styles if I want to. Why? Because I actually have done my own research there. Okay? You can actually watch the videos there how I actually design the robot just now there, right? Right? Okay. Those have been used for those sample of character that is now there. Right. I designed the robot at the same times. Because I did actually do a lot of for the character design or character cartoons currently. See, because I did a lot of reference and research first, but I did not use all this reference or research to persuade or to influence my kind of way of working with my design. But what do make me quite interesting is this kind of design there, see? Because there's a lot of flexibility on those features of the structures. Okay, the way they approach the writing is quite, for me, it's very approachable. It's very what we call that flexible. It's very flexible there. So maybe later on, if I want to redesign these characters, okay, this is my sketch there, right? I will improvise a bit now. Okay. So right now, the background itself. So we have the sample just now there, right? Okay. So where basically I want to compose that, right? Okay. A very simple compositions here. Right? So what I can do, right? The house. Okay. I'm not going to be cover the house. Okay. If I want to design something here, there, right? I don't want to cover the whole compositions there, right? Okay. Cover the house because I want to show people, right, the design of this house there. This is a rough sketch of it first. There's a balcony over here. Of course, all this kind of design will not going to be appealing, okay, nicely been done, okay, if you don't actually watch a lot of cartoons. I spend a lot of my time watch a lot of cartoons in my entire life there, right? This is basically the door, the house is there, right? So what I can do next from here, I think I did actually have designed a lot of a few kind of this design before, right? So there's a leaves over here, right? I can also design the leaf look like this if I want to. Just sketch that right there. So these are going to be the entrance, right? These are going to be the terrains there. Okay, watch carefully how actually I draw that, right? So he pointed to the house, right? See to move, right? And then what else that we can do? Okay, there's a garden, right? Nice gardens. From the houses there, right? A simple kind of tree, it based on the same kind of ideas there. Okay, right? Another tree over here, right? Maybe there is a coconut tree there, right? You have watched actually how actually I designed the coconut tree before this, right? But I'm using different kind of styles there right now. Yeah. You see the whole composition, right? Okay, balance there, right? Okay. When I actually design all the elements on the pages, even though this is not basically 16 by 12 by 12 inch or 6 by 6 inch, right? Okay, not square kind of format, right? Okay, but it's a good approach first on your sketches there. Okay, the format is actually wrong, but I just want to show you guys how we work. Okay, the clouds there. Design the cloud also really important there, guys. Design the cloud. Right? And a foreground, maybe the foreground, okay? The compositions basically there's the background, there's the ground, and the foreground itself. The foreground maybe there is a leaves over here. Right. You see the balance there between the compositions? And what else there? Maybe I want to design one single shapes of B there. The B characters, sub characters there. Okay. Simple kind of design there, okay? We don't have to design a very complex design, but it shows the understanding how it works. All right? First of all. Any questions? If you take a look at the way that I approach my design here and compare to this one, which one is more interesting to see there? You know the answers there, right? What are the name of the stories, sir? The young strawberry there. Okay. You don't learn, you haven't learned about the, what we call that? The typographies yet, right? So, but what actually can I approach from here? Young. When I want to design typeface there, I'm using very simple kind of drawings. We draw them back. Young, IOUNG. I'm using a very bulky, right, bubble kind of looks there, okay? Young strawberries there. So make sure the typeface also is a part of design there. It's a part of those design there, okay? Young strawberries there. raw. But of course, this is not final flag. Okay. Raw. Berries. E, right? Strawberry. Young strawberry there. So this is one of it, right? So the typeface should not actually write, will actually emphasize, but not going to cover the whole design area. Okay? Can you see how actually we approach those kind of balance in those design itself, right? They doesn't actually going to be cover the main ideas of the element that we want to show on the stories, on the visual itself. Okay? You put balance on that, right? When you guys will learn what we call that photography before, I think later on, I think you will actually find yourself a very good approach on the balance, the compositions there, right? Learn to develop the balance of the compositions there. I think we call it asymmetrical balance there. Okay. So the placement, the arrangement has to also play a very good role on your design there. Okay? On your design there. Okay, how to design those typefaces, even though you can actually use any kind of typeface or download any kind of typeface you want already. For example, okay, it is say Y-O-U-N-G down there. So I'm going to use different kind of typeface that can represent the characters there. It's going to look good, right? Even though for your project, but normally if you want to design this kind of characters, right? This kind of design. So, okay. Don't basically what we call that distort your typeface. It's not professional enough, right? Okay, to work like that. The best thing is to approach your works is by scaling but not distort your images. Distort your images. Okay? Don't distort your images. Remember what I said, okay? So if you want to make a different kind of approach, normally in typeface kind of developments, they're right. They will basically have a certain kind of criteria or discipline that you guys will learn in the futures there, okay? But what I can do from here as an illustrator is okay, let me check there, okay? Window oops. The characters there. The characters there. So go to characters and then we can set the leading or maybe okay this one there, okay, the tracking there, okay, the arrangement the map right there. If I actually put it to more a little bit more process, they become because every typeface title has the characters itself. There has the personalities there, okay? So we must be able to use that kind of personalities that you work with it, okay? Because if I want to make these characters, the reason why I'm using a serif, this is a serif, kind of what we call that typeface with a bold, funny kind of looks there, okay? So I'm going to combine, I'm going to make it these characters a bit more will be more basically close together and change the sizes at the same time, right? See, you see the different kind of looks there, right? But this one there, right? I'm not quite satisfied with it, so I can actually cut. Then I'm going to paste right here, this, and then I can actually scale there, see, and I can actually right here, I can actually play with those elements, those kind of alignment from there. Try to make it more characterization there, characteristic of this title there. Can you see what is going on here? But make sure that, okay, before you go into scale or combine them, right, or rasterize them, you already define basically the sizes there, because from here, if you scale a bit more, they become a little bit more like jagged or also pixelized there, okay? So you have to maintain the size there, okay? Same goes to this one. If I want to change the size over here first, before I change the size, I'm going to make it right. Okay, these characters will become size change. This is what we call the change the characterization. Right? We want to create a personality of this design there itself. So if I find this type trace is quite presenting there, okay, what I can do, I can easily merge link. All right. Okay. So what I can do next, I can repaint if I want to. Have you guys learned about this stage before? Right, I can use it because the typeface has to be more emphasizing that. Okay? Sometimes depending, right? If your illustrations, if your kind of what we call it illustrations more stand out than those typeface, we have to use a very simple kind of designer. Okay? Just like yellowish, right? White color. And paint using white color there. Alternate backspace. Yeah. Alternate backspace there, right? Double click. If I want to use drop shadows, you see that the difference there? Right. Or if I want to use strokes, see the strokes there, right? Change the colors of the strokes. I can use the size of the strokes. See, they become more thickness there. Right. Click OK. There. See the difference there. So as simple as it can be, because why? Because maybe the illustrations later on are going to be a bit more thicker, right? Okay? More stand out, okay? So I'm going to use a very simple color combinations, but very strong and bold kind of characters for the titles there to make it more appealing there. Okay? When people saw the titles, they can understand, okay, what are the stories all about, okay? The young or young strawberries, for example. Okay? This is only the first step, the beginning process of how actually you develop a design kind of stagings process to develop the titles, the storybooks, the posters, okay? All the information that I actually shared with you guys today will lead into that kind of discipline there, okay? But I just touched a few things only because this is a subject of illustrations there. But I want you guys to have kind of exposures there, right, that you actually can provide in the future. Okay, guys? Okay. Am I go too fast for you guys? No, they're right. You guys can check the all that. Even though I'm using an old version of the what we call that applications, but the techniques are going to be the same there. Maybe the new version have a bit more simplest kind of methods of working maybe there, okay? Depending there, okay? But the idea is your design senses there, okay? How to develop them, right? I'm adding different layers there, always adding different layers there to this. Okay, this is maybe the title there. The title is okay, the title there. So how about the characters there? We go back into the characters there. So I designed a few characters just now. These are the sketches. So let me design the characters better. If you're using an outline there for this design, I will design two different approaches there. First of all, the very thick line, the leaves or the petals are become the hair, right? So I'm going to design basically what it is, basically the body itself there. So the eyebrows, right? Then they're going to be the eyes over here. And you see the way that actually try to manage to work with the quality of line. See? Just like we working with the coloring books there, right? Yeah. So there is also a texture bracket that represent the strawberry shapes. So remember about the legs there, right? That I told just now. If I want to design the legs so like this, I can do it. See the changes of the sizes. So the design itself came from one cylinder there that can be break into two segments there, right? When the character is going to be bent, then even though this area is also we can bend at the same time. Right? Yeah. You can bend it up. That's why you must be able to understand how the things work first. Alright? When you design your subject matter, your characters at the same time. So the hands, right, balance them out again because the hands is too near to too high there again. So I'm going to design different there. So I simplify the shapes of those arms on the hands there. Right? Even though I can draw the hands like this one, right? I simplify them there. See? The shapes of those. Characters. Right, from here we can do a lot of them. You can paint it up if you want to there later on there, right? Right, you can paint, right, using colors there. How to paint them. Of course, I'm going to add new layers there. Use lasso tools. I will show you guys a very simple approach there first. Lasso tools there. New versions, normally you can actually do some selections there, right? Because they can actually add more good selections from there, but these versions we can't there, right? So you guys can explore from here. And then I can actually use alternate. right? To add a hole from here, right? Same goes from here also, right? Okay, because there are two different kind of shapes there, right? Every single shapes are going to be different. Okay. Now, if I want to paint, if I want to plane easily the writing, I can use alternate backspace there, right? But if I want to put some textures on that, this one basically for digital illustrations there, right? Or maybe I can use soft brushes like this. What I can do, change the colors. Okay. See? But the highlight and shadows are really important in order to develop the techniques in the right way. Okay. And of course, you can also adjust the flow if you want to. Remember that flows. Okay. You can add also some highlight there. Okay. Highlight from here. Right. Highlight there. Right. Okay. Highlight from here. See? Okay. From there. You knock the line there, right? Okay, and select in the right way. The way that I clean it. Normally in illustrations, I love to look my drawings a bit more rough, especially with this kind of style. The colors itself, right, and then the shadowing. Can use same shadow styles if I want to, right? Okay. Right. Or I can use brush styles if I want to. The hands, of course, the arms and legs came from the same elements, because he basically is not human, but it's an anthropomorphism of characters that act like a human there. So that's why I'm using green color for the rest of the body parts there, right? So how actually I get the green colors there? Eyedroppers, and add those, right, shadow at the same time. Where's the lighting came from? If you check it closely there, right? The lighting came from this side there. All right, the eyebrow. What color of the eyebrow there? Right? Maybe green color is also there, right? A bit more darker. Oops. Right, a bit more darker there, right? And I can actually use alternate to add different kind of shapes there. Yeah. Okay. Eyebrows. Now we do the selections for the eyes. I think most of the videos that I actually did for the rest of the groups, I didn't actually show how actually I painted it. Okay, this is very basic kind of understanding how to paint, right? This is only basics there. So of course, okay, these two elements are going to be different colors. But first of all, I'm going to paint in white first. Oops. Paint in white first. Okay. And then what I can do, I'm going to paint first, okay, alternate, adjust this one. I'm going to paint first the inside of the mouth. Okay. See that? There. See? The lips, the tongue with more lighter line. Okay? Yeah. Alright. And of course, the eyes also has the shadows, right? What I can do, maybe you can use a blue color there for the eyes. Okay? A bit there. And then the eyes, the pupil there, right? Iris of the eyes. Alright. Maybe the colors of the pupil are going to be purple in color. Brush, right? I'm going to add some shadows, okay, right here, just to give it more kind of shadowing form, three-dimensional kind of looks. And then I can add also shadows here, a highlight there, okay? This is only one simple kind of approach there. On the characters itself, a very simple kind of shadow style there, okay? There is a more complex kind of style that I can actually give you guys some suggestions there. This is one of the introduction how it works there. As long as you can get the right kind of strokes that is. Okay? Alright guys, can you see how actually we present it well? Those styles of illustrations here, the styles of techniques to approach those characters there, right? This is one of them. We can do a lot of things from here if I want to. We can do that, okay? This part right here, basically it doesn't actually, what we call that, been refined and right. So I can use the smudge tool to work with it. Right? Smudge tool to work with it there. Okay. Smudge tool to work with it there. Make sure you add new layers that you work with it. Yeah. Refining back to your words there. Yeah. Alright. Okay, for the see, if you refine it well, you can see the approach of the words without the outline and with the outline there. How about the background there, right? The background itself there, right? Normally guys, I'm not going to add an outline for the background for this type of illustrations. Okay, with this type of illustration, what I can do, maybe I don't have time to draw the color the whole thing. I'm going to color I'm going to design basically the tree, right? One of the coconut tree, right? I'm going to design the shapes there, okay? All these kind of ideas of designing the shapes came from the reference there. Face, right? There. Okay. Now I want to draw the tree trunk there, right? This technique basically I actually have introduced for digital illustrations, but it's good for you guys actually can watch how actually we did it this week, this semester there. So hopefully next semester you will gain more understanding how it works there. So this is basically the coconut fruit there, okay? So I'm going to add another layer. These tactics, they will need a few layers that can be developed. Okay? So I'm going to change the colors right here. Yeah, for the coconut tree there, right? Okay. But if you check it right now, I'm not using a normal kind of approach on the color combination. Now I'm going to design we call that the coconut leaf, right? The emphasize on leaf. And of course, don't forget to add new layers there. See? I might go too fast for you guys. You guys, can you understand how it works here? Hey guys, respond to me there. So from here, we can do a lot of things there, okay? I can actually design the textures there, right? When I actually do some selections right here, there, right? I can actually use different brushes that works. I can use the same brushes, soft brushes if I want to. I can use, okay, I want to show you guys how actually I'm going to work with the very texture brushes, rough round bristles there. Change the volume of colors back. And also, right, I'm going to check the flows and adjust it. See? Do you see that?
Yeah.
How actually I paint them up, different kind of way. Remember guys, okay, we design things. Even though okay, I'm not actually teach you guys yet how to work with normal paint kind of styles there right here. But I actually have shown you guys before, you can adjust and explore that. Okay? But right now, I'm showing you guys some of the unique way to present your works. If you draw like a kids, right? If you happen to draw like a kids, but you want to have a very unique kind of approach, this is one of it there. So for this coconut fruit there right there, what I can do, I can actually use this kind of technique there. But of course, it came from the light and shadows there. Right now, the light came from over here. The what we call the different kind of volume of tone for the textures of the objects will become the shadow kind of approach there. Okay, yeah, right. You can use different layers if you want to test first these kind of techniques there. Okay, this one, change a bit more. Yeah. I can actually use three different kind of approach there, different kind of approach there. Okay? To blend it up. Right? If you saw some of the animations okay, before using this kind of techniques, this is one of the techniques, this is one of the way that they actually done the methods of working here. Okay? Alright. My package will arrive. I think this package basically for my manual demonstrations later on. Alright. You see how actually I paint the tree trunk that way. So I'm using the shadows itself to cover them up, right? And the next thing that I can do from here, I can use line brushes there to paint the textures there. See? Okay. So if you really want to draw like kids, make sure you know how to improvise your design. I'm showing you guys right now how to improvise them. See? Textures line. So know your level of skill at the same time. Okay, what basically I show you guys here today is how you can actually approach your design styles. If you think that you can draw anime manga styles, okay, this is one of the good approach that you can develop your skills. By the end of the day there, okay, you need to know, understand one thing. You want to make money or you want to show off people that you can draw a certain kind of style. Show off is one thing, okay, but you know how to survive in your own fields. Okay? That's basically really more important there at this stage. I'm showing you guys an options there to live and to survive. Then we can actually copy. I can actually write duplicate, right? And scale down. Don't scale up, huh? Scale down. This approach. Okay. What's next that we can do from here? The same techniques, but different colors combination. Alright, guys? Yeah. So if you're not using outline for your backgrounds there, okay, the characters can be propped out, okay? So there has a balance, there also has a depth of field between your design. Okay, add new layers. Okay, if you want to draw basically the ground of it, right? Okay? The ground there, okay? The ground for these illustrations. Have you guys learned about these techniques in image manipulations? Alternate backspace. Okay, alternate backspace. Right, to add those colors there. And you can change the layers there, right? You can use also a shadow painter, okay, or maybe right, soft colors, okay, soft brushes. If you're afraid to make mistakes there, adjust basically the flows. Then you can see very soft kind of line. Right? Shadows over here. You can use lassos. Just to paint the shadows. See? It can be. Clouds. To add new layers there. These styles there, okay, this kind of illustration styles there, or any kind of illustration style, okay, they require a lot of layers there. Either you can use soft brushes to paint, or you can use gradient if you want to, right? Soft brushes, basically, if you use brushes to paint, okay, they will basically improve your controlling techniques there, okay? Soft brushes for the even though drawing or designing clouds, okay, when you color the clouds, okay, it's actually right consists a method of designing them. You not just paint them up. You not actually just paint them up, huh? Remember that. It's all about designing them. See? Soft line there, right? See? Depth of field from there. Okay, guys. Simple approach, right? But it show more appealing and presentable in the right way. Okay, if you want to draw the shadows right here, simple kind of shadows, brush, you can paint. Okay. Soft enough line there, right? Controlling the brush strokes is really important. At the same time, you change also the flows. All right, guys. So then talk to me about, don't actually try to questions, okay? You guys like or don't like the manga characters or not, okay? You cannot actually improve your drawing skills. Don't imagine yourself to draw manga, okay? If you cannot design a very simple kind of styles like this, that will be more approachable and also show a bit more kind of feeling kind of presented your works there, right? Okay. Today, basically, I've shown you guys one of the important techniques how to paint in Photoshop, how to design and paint in Photoshop, okay, for your illustrations, which is we always actually did all this kind of learning experience in next semester. But I show you guys today because I know it's quite important for you to do. So backlight, okay, I want to draw a backlight for this drawing stage to give the more kind of approach on the works there. Okay? Backlight, okay? They will give a different kind of feel for your design there, if you know how to use a backlight. This is a highlight. Okay? This one also has a light. Highlight it. Okay? Simple kind of style that can be approached, that can give a very good or high impact on your presentations. Okay? But everything has to be practiced. Don't rely on one or two styles or two kind of exercise only there. Okay? Practice, make progress. Not perfect. All right. Any questions? So group 4, okay? Lucky you guys actually are joining the class today for these sessions. So I can actually what we call that, give a bit more input on the works there. Okay, even though we're using the same brushes, right? Okay? Find the best brushes for you to approach. Right? I can actually draw a leaf there, right? You want to draw the leaf just not there, right? See how I actually draw the leaf there. Simple kind of approach for design the leaf there. If I want to draw the leaf on top of these images there, right? What I can do, of course, I have to add the layers. Okay. Yeah. Playing with layers is really important. Okay, the leaf will actually give the presentation a bit more detailing there. Talking about detailing there. You don't have to draw the whole session with leaves there. We give some suggestions on that. More than enough. See? The leaves also consist of what we call that the balance between the compositions itself. Okay? That's why we learn design, we develop design sense, right? To approach the, let's say you want to draw the mountain, for example, right? You can use the same images here if you want to, copy and paste, see? Use the same colors but has a transparent directly. You show the mountain from there. Depth of fields there from there. The clouds can be rearranged. Don't forget to rename your layers there. Discipline there, okay? Work with it. Then you can draw later on the houses there, okay? Based on the mushroom there. All right, guys. Any questions so far? Easy, right? Work
Like
with the, yeah? Look easy, right? But this kind of
the thumbnail need to apply the color like this.
if you can, if you want to try, I would encourage you guys to test it. That's why, because this is one of the requirements of the technique that you guys also will approach for next semesters. If you guys learn from me digital officials, right? We need to go into, not do deep, right? But I will show a bit more kind of detail, okay? Right, because this is one of the styles that I actually approach for my professional works. Okay. If you want to find from some of the mangaka artists want to teach you guys, you have to go to Japan now. Right? But right now in Malaysia, okay, you will learn a lot of multiple disciplines, as I actually have learned from my previous experience there. But if you want to try them, go ahead there, okay? Because it's a good kind of process of experience to develop your skills. Okay. Basically, I already show you guys one of my secrets how actually I develop my works there. So it's quite, it will find a lot of what we call that, a very what we call that regressions therapy if you not actually try to develop this kind of skills. But if you have another way to paint the works, go ahead. You can go through with it. But I'm going to show you guys right now how actually I solve one of the problem when people try to design or draw like kids there. You understand what I mean here? Okay? When you design like this, all right, like kids there, right? How actually you want to make your design, your illustration more appealing there? If you draw like a chinchai, like a kids, of course people don't appreciate your works there. But when you design something a bit more like this, right? They show a lot of what we call that, a lot of understanding there, okay, on working with your illustrations there, okay. People will notice that you have the skill to develop your own design for illustrations, okay. But you have to practice a lot. You have to be patient and practice a lot, okay? And also watch a lot of samples there. Right, the samples there, okay? For example, my kind of styles that I actually approach here came from, I always love to watch these animations before, right? Powerpuff Girls there. Okay? Because I find out that these kind of styles can be, what we call that, can be developed, right? It can be developed, can be manipulated, okay? For those people who doesn't like to play with certain kind of rules there. I always love to bend the rules there, okay? Especially when it comes to design things, okay? But they have to be look approachable, they have to be look professional, like done there, okay? So that's why I really always find I'm not actually look into, of course, okay, to design ma kotoshi card, okay? Right. To develop this kind of illustrations, okay, we will actually go through with this kind of illustration styles, okay, in digital illustrations for next semester. Even though this semester also we have done a few kind of exercise in black and white styles, right? But to design something like this, it takes a lot of time there, okay, and a lot of efforts that you do. So basically, the technique is almost the same. The only things that actually difference is all about how well you go into detailing and understand the methods of approaching the perfections of those drawing or styles of drawings, perspective, not the right thing. The lightings, everything has to be perfect there. All right. But you guys can actually learn also from the YouTube there or from other kind of tutorials that you work with it already. It's not that hard. It's not that hard, okay? It's all about controlling the strokes, controlling the flows, using the right kind of brushes, right? Okay, and then organize also the arrangement between light and shadow at the same time. That's all, right? So you guys can also improve from there if you want to. I'm okay with it if you have time to work with it. But what I actually show you guys right now is how to make it your work a bit more advanced. More advanced. That means they will be more stylized. One of the things that I always love also samurai jack. See how I think they approach with this design. Okay? It's a very simplicity stylizations, but they show a lot of quality of color combinations kind of techniques. That warm and cool colors, color theoreticals will play a very big role on this design there. Okay? Whatever that you guys learn about warm and cool colors there, okay? They will emphasize on these styles. They will make a very good kind of approach on your designs as well. Okay? And for me, what I actually have approached before, what I've learned before, okay, this kind of styles basically is more approachable and more easy to understand if you actually diversify your thought of working with your design. See, the composition is very simple there, right? It's straightforward kind of compositions, and also they play with the very multiple kind of brush styles and it works, right? So you can see the lighting effects there. The lighting came from this left side, top left side, okay, and then they cover the whole thing in the right side. It's a very simple kind of studies there, okay. So I really encourage you guys to explore a bit more before you're going to go into the next chapters of our semesters there. Okay? It's a very good kind of approach there. It's very easy to understand, okay? Because not all people can actually approach like Makoto Shinkai or Ghibli studio kind of techniques there, right? But it's a good kind of practice that you work. So if you can actually do this kind of techniques, go ahead there, right? I won't emphasize them because I know some of you guys need more time to develop their skills there. I think most of them, right? But we have been go through before, we mix them up. But for these assignments, normally I will give you guys a bit kind of what we call that an options there for you guys to work. This is one of the options for those who cannot draw well, but you can emphasize more on your styles and techniques to approach in the right way. Okay? All right, guys? Any questions? I know the styles is the Tamil must have 12 or is it need to apply colors there? Depending. You can do some color script if you want to. Right, color script that we call it, okay? Color scripts. Like PISA color script for animations. This is one of the color scripts for one of the animated therapy. PISA color animated therapy. A very simple kind of shapes, but they also can be a part of styles of illustrations. Okay, they show all the what you call that the ideas that the lighting, the effects that even though the characters doesn't look like this in the final one, right? But it's a part of the illustration process. How to develop the methods of working, okay, and approach your color combinations, your planning when it comes to real kind of what we call the finalization, your illustrations later on. This is one of the approach for the color script. Okay, guys? Okay?
Teacher,
Mm-hmm.
for the thumbnail, right? The characters, we must use the previous character that we do in our character designer.
If you think that you can use those characters back again, go ahead, okay, for your stories there.
Also, we
That's
can
what-
either create a new character or use back lah.
Yes.
Then how many characters?
All right, based from what I actually explained before there, okay, from the previous videos, don't use more than 2 characters for your story because you only have 12 pages, right? Okay. Focus more on the style that you want to approach for your illustration there. Okay. The story is one of the accessories to approach to present your works there, okay? To present your design there, to present your characters there, okay? But I want to see how you actually approach the compositions, the pose, the actions, right? Okay? The elements that you design. Right. Okay, for your stories there, okay, for your final projects there, okay. So that's why I don't want you guys to focus a lot detail on the stories until you cannot actually finalize your illustration works. The techniques, the coloring methods, the design itself, development, the sketch ideas there, the way that you actually design the characters, actions, pose in every pose in every page were a part of the criteria that I want to see whether you really understand how to work with your illustrations or not. Okay?
So the thumbnail maximum is 12 lah, or can
Well,
plus minus
the
exactly 12.
books, the story has to be in 12 page only there, the books there. So
Uh,
thumbnails, okay, the thumbnail can be more there, okay? If you have one single thumbnail there, okay, for your stories, if you think the stories doesn't look right, you can actually sketch another thumbnail there. Thumbnail is a sketches there, okay? It's a planning there, okay? It's not the final works, it's a planning there, okay? If I were you guys, I will go search for children's book illustration styles. So from here, I can see a lot of samples there, okay, of children's books that people have designed that's based on different kind of styles. This is also one of the good styles there, see? I really love this kind of styles there. If you want to draw like kids, try to draw something like this. But they show basically, what is it right now? They show the understanding on the color combinations, the design principle and elements together there, right? You see there, right? The design itself. Okay, if you want to take a look at manga style, there, right? Children's books. Is there any children's book manga styles there? There's a lot. Right? This is one of it. See, manga hero white labels like it. This is one of the children's books manga styles there. Books. This one can be. See, right? But of course, manga styles normally is a very perfect kind of drawing styles. So if you can draw perfect kind of drawing styles, you can draw manga. Don't just wanna be there, okay? Pretend to be there. I don't like people pretend to be manga drawing styles there. Because your proportions, your kind of understanding on the characterizations there, and anatomy is not right. So don't just be pretending to be there. It is one of the manga styles comic there, right? That's what I say. If you want to search more on the works there, okay, you can find a lot of ideas from there. This is one of the Japanese or Chinese kind of call that comics there, right? So make sure you actually understand what you need and how actually you're going to approach your kind of works there, right? Okay. Maybe this semester or maybe right now you haven't opened up your mind there, okay? But you can actually try first, okay? Try, but develop with more kind of understanding from time to time. Okay? This is also one of the good examples. I like to see this kind of stuff. Okay? With an outline there to work with. This is also combining American and Japanese styles. If you actually look into different kind of ways, see. I love this kind of style. Okay? I love this kind of drawings. But I don't want to keep myself into one different styles of approach only, okay, for my life, because it's quite boring there later on. But you can actually approach that. Like Hayao Miyazaki is also has designed also children's books there. Right? So you have to be more flexible. Don't just pretending that you just only love only one style, but basically you cannot draw them. You can see a lot of different approach that works. I really love this kind of style. They have these two combinations between manga and American styles, Western and also Asian kind of style combined together there. That you can find a lot of good identities on that. Okay. Right now, basically what I did actually for this one were basically from your friends kind of books. Actually, I pushed them back. Okay. One of the things that I've done before, okay, for these characters there, from these styles there, I actually approach with different kind of styles of approach on the words there. So that's what I say there, okay. I'm not restricting myself into one particular style only there. This is one of the things that I've done there, okay, with the children's books there. But this is only a sample of what we call that, of design, okay, for the client. See, the methods of working is the same. Using lassos, I sketch it out first, and I design it back. Sometimes the design doesn't have to be to approach the whole elements there, to color the whole page there, okay? You can actually balance them out there, okay? It's also one of the good kind of approach for one of the works that I've done before, okay? Even though this is not been published there. Okay? All right, guys? Anything else? So do your own research there. Always do your own research there. Okay? This is one of the thumbnail styles that sketch. Thumbnail is all about develop your ideas there. If one idea is not right or it doesn't work, redraw back to it. All right? Planning there. This is one of the thumbnail sketch. But it's not mine, but one of the sample that you guys can take a look there, okay? Sketch line there, okay? On the storyboard, okay? Sketch that ideas there. Okay, guys? One of the sketch there, okay? Ideas there. This one is a bit more like a naive style. This is his sketch, right? To this book by Donia Todd illustrations there. Okay? You guys can check that, okay? How actually they work. So it's up to you how actually going to work. Unless, as long as you don't praise from other people's works, okay? You develop your own skill at the same time. Okay? You develop your own skills. This is the time for you to develop your own skill, to design your own works. Okay? I don't know whether I have a lot of samples right here. Okay, guys. So thank you very much here. All right. So I have to continue to my next sessions. Hopefully, you guys can gain something